Hello, everyone. As you know, I'm an Uber driver, and I've been a driver for 10 months. And during that time, I have driven 864 riders to their destination safely. And also, out of those 864 riders, all of them have given me a 5-star rating, nothing lower than that. Okay, so please take that into consideration before I share my story. But before I share my story, I would like to give some advice to riders. If you need to be somewhere on time and you need to be there early, please order your driver to come early or come at an ample time that suits you best. You know, don't be getting a driver when you have to be there in 15 or 20 minutes because that puts stress not only on yourself, but it puts stress on me. And I feel like I have to drive fast and maybe even slightly drive unsafe just because I feel the pressure to get you out of my car and to get you there quickly. I just don't like that at all. Please make sure that you tap the app when it's convenient for you and also early, just so we can get to your destination safely and on time. Okay? So that's my advice to riders. If you're running late, either deal with being late or make sure that you prepare ahead of time. Okay, so I'm going to describe my situation. On Friday, which is about Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days ago, okay, I picked up a rider at 2:04 p.m. She requested the ride at 2:04 p.m. Now, little did I know that she had to be at work at 2:30. So she was already under a little bit of stress. So once I got there, I pulled into the driveway. Actually, the fence was there. I couldn't go all the way in the driveway, but I saw her waiting on the sidewalk. So I drove in as much as I could, so I didn't hit the fence. But I wanted her to have a convenient way of getting into my car. And yeah, she didn't really care about that so much. I can tell that she wasn't in a great mood. I back out and then I head east. Little did I know that that was a dead end. And she told me if I go that way, it's going to be a dead end. So I turned around and I was supposed to make a left on Cunningham, but I kept going straight on her street. And then she told me, you're supposed to make a left there. And I explained that my app hadn't rerouted yet. So that's why I didn't know. She didn't say anything, right? So as we're driving, she noticed that the passenger seat in my car had the vent pointing up. And then she said, can you point it down so that it would face in my direction because it's hot? And I said, oh yeah, no problem. Sorry that it wasn't pointing down earlier. My wife doesn't like the air conditioning that much, and that's why it was pointing up. So I did that. She didn't say anything after I explained that my wife didn't like it. I thought she would have understood that, but again, she wasn't in a great mood. So after that, I noticed she was looking in my console area, and I'm not sure why she was doing that. So I asked, is there anything wrong? I looked behind me while she was in the back seat. She just gave me that, like nothing was wrong. So I don't know if she was just looking for something to complain about, but it seemed like that was the case. Next thing, as we're driving, she asked me how many people I picked up today. And I said, I had a lot of riders today. And so I asked, how's your day going? So I was just trying to be friendly with her. And she says, well, I'm late. I said, oh, okay, I know where this is going to go. So I said, I'm very sorry to hear that. That's all I said. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to be professional and be friendly. And I just let it go. And so when she said that, I felt the pressure of me having to drive her to her destination quicker. And also, I didn't want her in my car because I could feel the tension already. So I drove a little bit faster just to make sure she got to her workplace on time. And like I said, for her to get out of my car as soon as possible. Then once we get to her workplace, it's at a warehouse. And so there are some cones once we reach there. And it was really confusing. I could tell Uber was telling me to turn left, but I just saw cones. I didn't see a place where I could turn left. And so I kept going. And she says, you're supposed to turn left there. And I'm like, Turn left where? That's what I said. And she says, drop me off in front of that building. And I said, okay. So now I figure out where I have to turn and where I'm supposed to drop her off. And I did. And once I get there, I noticed that it was 2:24. So she got to her workplace 6 minutes early, right? So she wasn't late. So she did say thank you, and I just said, yep. And I know once I said just yep, she knew I wasn't happy with her. So that was the end of the ride. Now at 9:30 p.m. at night, I get a notification from Uber telling me that a rider was complaining about the safety of my car, that my windows weren't working properly, and that my car was overheated. Unbelievable. Number one, my car is in complete working condition. There was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't overheated. If you say it's overheated, you would see steam coming out of the hood, right? Nothing like that. And I was furious when I got that notification. But even worse yet, Uber told me that I needed to get a car inspection just to prove that my car was in working order. Actually, they first told me that I need to send them a receipt showing that I repaired my car. And I said, my car is in perfect working order. That is a flat out lie. So once they realized, at least they knew that I was serious, that it was a lie, then they told me, okay, we'll just get an inspection just to prove that it's in working order. And I just can't believe I had to do that. So I spent $25 just to get an inspection. And when I went to the mechanic, they did tell me that I had to replace my front tires because they were wearing a bit. And I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm all about safety as well. But my car has always been in working order. I always get my oil changes on time. In fact, I was due for an oil change right at that moment. So I figured, well, I'll kill two birds with one stone. Get an inspection and get the oil changed. So anyway, the mechanic said, that woman is crazy. There's nothing wrong with your windows. There's nothing wrong with your air conditioning. There's nothing wrong. Obviously, it's not overheated. You need to report her. So, and you know, the funny thing about this woman, her name is Felicia. Okay, I'm not going to tell you her last name. Just, you know, I'm not going to be that vindictive. I'm a Christian. I even though I'm angry about it and I believe in justice, I still believe in God's justice. But the funny thing is, her name is Felicia. Go figure. So that's my situation. So my advice for drivers is this. Number one, when you are in this kind of a situation, just be professional, be calm, don't get emotional. Because if you do that, you give that rider more power to complain about you. I probably should have just said you're welcome at the end. That would have just calmed the situation down. I mean, I didn't do very much. I just said, yep. And when she said thank you. And that might have triggered her to realize, oh, he's not happy with me, so I'm going to retaliate. So the best situation is this. Pretend like nothing happened, right? And just don't engage with someone like that. And I did the right thing. When she complained that she was late, I just said, I'm sorry to hear that. I apologized, and I didn't take it as my responsibility because she's the one that should have called for an Uber earlier. So it's definitely her fault. And I made it clear that it wasn't my fault just by doing that, but I was also polite about it. So that's what you need to do. You know, if you are being unfairly treated by a rider, that's what you got to do. Just engage as little as possible if you have a problem rider. It will de-escalate the situation as much as possible. Next advice I would give you is you need a dash cam. I didn't have a dash cam, and I'm still thinking about how much I'm going to spend on it, but I'm going to get a dash cam as soon as possible. So take it from me. After 864 rides, you're going to end up getting one crazy rider, and that crazy rider could destroy your career if you don't have proof. Now, luckily, I'm thankful that she didn't complain about me being rude, because I wasn't rude. So she had to find another way to try to get me in trouble. So she falsely made a report that my car was unsafe. But I could prove that, and I'm thankful. And I think I'm probably going to end up keeping my 5-star rating despite this, because she's going to get in trouble for falsely accusing me. At least I hope so. But anyway, that's my story, and I just tell you all, be careful out there. Get a dash cam if you don't have one already, and just be professional and be calm and don't get emotional. Do not engage with a crazy rider. And if you're one of those riders, all I have to say is this. You have to treat people with respect. I understand that you might be late and life is tough sometimes, but these drivers work hard all day driving, and it's very tiring mentally and emotionally, and we can't handle that kind of stress. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.